This is my infographic, 11 by 7. The topic that I decided to talk about is open source software, reliability versus risk. So, chapter number that it consists to chapter 19, software reuse. I worked with, first of all, understanding what open source software is, which is basically a software where the source code is available to the public and can be used, modified, and distributed according to its license terms. It's part of everything, all the way from your smartphones to satellites as well. So it has a very widespread use case, but that also kind of raises the question, are these systems reliable enough for us to use them across all these other different use cases? How well maintained are OSS libraries? Who maintains them? And specifically on that kind of like reliability, maintenance, and security aspect. So, starting off with my research study, here I have a summary of three that I found interesting. The first was mainly focusing on the bug densities, about how different repositories at different scales might have different level of bugs being generated. But again, at the same time, depending on the activity level of each repository, it might be easier for larger projects to fix up those bugs and also create a higher quality code overall, as compared to some of the repositories that are not maintained. The second research paper highlights the brand patch management system. It kind of introduces this idea of how the older repositories that have been banned for years or abandoned for years might go through certain issues with the branch or patch management systems in GitHub. And again, just overall vulnerabilities because of how unnoticed these projects are. The third was about using OSS in critical systems. So, for example, healthcare, banking, transportation. So, a lot of these times, these use cases use OSS dependencies not out of choice, but out of necessity. So, even in those kind of scenarios, this research study specifically focuses on how important it is to assess the security risk factors beforehand. Now, after I went through all that research, I want to talk about what my analysis is. My analysis is that even though um, the risk and reliability factor is kind of very much 50-50, where I could see that some popular OSS are very well maintained, have very active communities, and don't look like have any sort of, reliability issues. Some obscure OSS packages may be abandoned for years. They might be insecure, or they might be poorly documented. And a lot of times they have like this dependency chains, for example, how it was for the Heartbleed bug, for the Log4 shell bug, where one little thing can completely out disrupt the another bigger infrastructure and create an outage. So it really goes on to say that criticality is not equals to visibility. Um, so that's why we have to be very careful. So takeaway from all of this literature is that open source is something that can be both empowering and risky at the same time. It's very important that we are transparent, we're responsible, we're using OSS in a way that it's sustainable and maintainable. It's really up to the user of how they are the judge of, what's correct, what's not correct, and making sure that they are engaging or contributing to a reliable system. So yeah, my final opinion is that open source software isn't inherently risky or reliable. It just depends on how you use and support it. Some of the practices that I came over, which were very good in terms of improving reliability, were using dependency audits, using internal vetting process, also just giving training to your contributors in general as well. And then some of the surprising stats that I came across were the fact that almost 90% of the world's software is coded to use some sort of OSS component in some part of their stack. GitHub has over 100 million repositories with so many different use cases. And it's very fascinating to see that a lot of Gen AI tools are actually trained on the public's OSS. So a lot of the foundation of AI innovation, like TensorFlow, transformers, PyTorch, were built